Andrew Tate returns to the US with brother after travel ban is lifted.
For all the glad-handing, platitudes, smiles and Diplo speak you saw at the top of the programme there from Washington, the scene from Florida could not highlight in starker terms the divergent worldviews of former human rights lawyer turned Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and US President Donald Trump. 3 years ago, the self-proclaimed misogynist and controversial online influencer Andrew Tate and his brother were arrested in Romania and they face a number of both civic and criminal cases for allegations of rape, trafficking minors and money laundering, all of which they deny. Now, up until now, the Romanians have not let them leave the country. Then all of a sudden, that changed. And this morning, they're on a private jet on their way over to Florida. They landed just over an hour ago. This is what they had to say.
This is a democratic society. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, as my brother and I are. And I think it's extremely important that we stop allowing media spin, wrap-up smears, lies, or carefully constructed narratives from George Soros-funded operations trying to destroy the reputations of good people who have no intention to do anything other than follow the law.
I should just say that mention there of George Soros, the billionaire philanthropist names, who's often invoked by members of the far right, has been at the heart of multiple conspiracy theories.
Is it at this point? Is it far right at this point? I feel like we've literally, the needle has moved, man. Like, Andrew Tate has said a unimaginable amount of anti-Semitic nonsense that, like, him saying George Soros is probably the least anti-Semitic shit he said about Jewish people. Not to say that the invocation of George Soros is not anti-Semitic, but simply to say how many insane things he said about Jewish people. And not just Jews either, just in general, across the board, everything. He is on the wrong side of virtually every political subject. It's basically gotten to a fucking point where people that use dog whistles still, okay? People that use dog whistles still to this day are ironically kinder than the average neo-Nazi that sees no reason to use dog whistles. This isn't to say that those guys are in the right or anything, obviously. Lol, Taylor Swift said the same thing, but the vid did not gain attention. Taylor Swift talked about George Soros? What? Yeah, you might as well. Society is so far right now that if you're using dog whistles, you're basically woke Antifa at this point. I'd love a Hasan Andrew Tate stream. Listen, brother, last time he did that, he went to jail. So I don't think he wants that smoke.
Why the change of heart from the Romanians?
Yeah, well, the answer to that may also lie in Washington. So just over a week ago, it was reported that representatives of Donald Trump's administration were pressuring Romania to lift the travel ban. Now, neither the US or Romania have commented on that. In the last couple of minutes, actually, in the Oval Office there, Sir Keir Starmer said he'd look into it. Donald Trump said he didn't know anything about it. But lo and behold, their first port of call on the travel ban being lifted was the US. Now, I caught up with the Secretary of State for Innovation and Science this morning, so Peter Kyle. The first thing I asked him was, Andrew Tate and his influence, is that a threat?
We think that Andrew Tate is not a force for good in the world, and if there are criminal charges that are outstanding against him, then we need to make sure that there is a way for him to be, for those victims to have their voice heard. But for those people who are alleged to have committed crimes, then those victims must be put first and foremost, and their voices must be heard.
You may think it's a threat, but Donald Trump intervened and pressed the Romanians to allow him to travel to the US.
I don't know the details of what has happened, but as I say, we in this country, but particularly the Prime Minister, who has introduced legislation to protect victims, cares very, very deeply about those people who might allegedly be victims. Their voices are very, very important, and in situations like this, they must be listened to, as well as the voices of those people who are accused of committing crimes.
We may not know the exact details of his flight, but when it comes to the likes of Andrew Tate, you clearly have wildly different views on him to the President of the United States, who we're currently trying to negotiate trade deals with and how we tackle AI, you are nowhere near in line with the President of the United States, are you?
I have different views from every single person I meet every day because we're all individuals. Different countries have different priorities. The Prime Minister is out there in America putting Britain's national interests first, as is the President of the United States. But that doesn't mean that we can't find points of agreement.
Oh, here we go.
Andrew, how are you?
In Florida, after a long
Of course he came to Florida. It's the #1 spot for sex trafficking criminals, dude. #1 spot for cryptocurrency hawkers, pedophiles, sex traffickers galore.
flight from Romania, Andrew Tate was as combative as ever.
We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood. There's a lot of opinions about us, a lot of things that go around about us on the internet. We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever.
Did Donald Trump help get the travel ban lifted?
The social media influencer is a big fan of the US president. In Romania a month ago, this was his message to his millions of internet followers.
Donald Trump is the future of the Western world. Everybody knows it, and everybody needs to get in line and obey him. He runs the world, and he's a good friend of mine, and I'm going to help him.
The Trump administration, it was reported recently, pressed the Romanians to lift the brothers' travel ban. A Tate insider said the brothers had been allowed to travel to the United States for a month on business and would return to Romania, where they face rape, human trafficking and organised crime charges. They're also wanted by UK police on similar allegations.
The fact that Donald Trump would align himself with one of the world's worst alleged human traffickers and serial rapists is just gobsmacking.
The Prime Minister's meeting him today. You've got a message.
He's got big shoes to fill. After all, the last guy that did this famously in Florida is now dead. Okay? So, what if he just doesn't go back? Your audience is just a bunch of self-hating white people. Your streams are a safe space for them. You ever get tired of hating white people in the West? That's my answer to you. I welcome this, though. I miss these kinds of haters, because recently every single person has been like, you are not nice enough about my favorite apartheid state. This is like some OG shit. You're an anti-white racist. Yeah, okay, dude. Well, I'm white, dumbass. Shut up.
For Sir Keir Starmer?
Stand up for these British women who have alleged horrible crimes against Andrew Tate. These victims of alleged multiple rapes and human trafficking. Stand up for them and stand up to Donald Trump on this issue.
The lawyer hopes to get Andrew Tate into the UK civil courts as well, where he's being sued over rape claims by 4 women. They said in a joint statement, "We are in disbelief and feel re-traumatised by the news that the Romanian authorities have given in to pressure from the Trump administration to allow Andrew Tate to travel."
Bro, what are the Romanians supposed to do? If the Trump administration says, yeah, free him, like, we're talking about Romania. Americans do this in Japan, okay? The American government literally actively does this in Japan for soldiers that have not only raped people, but also have killed people who have also been convicted of raping people and killing people. And the American government goes, come on, release them. Send them to us. Don't delete this VOD, please. Wait, what? Why? Why would I delete this VOD? None of my VODs get deleted. You can come back and watch my anti-white racism every single day if you would like to do so. It's like, don't delete this VOD, please. I would like to go back to this moment where you recognize me.
Around Europe and to the US. The Tates say they've been given back cars and other seized assets, as well as their temporary freedom. The brothers are former kickboxers with joint US and UK nationality. They're controversial figures who flaunt their wealth and lavish lifestyle on social media. Influential to a generation of young men, to others crude, sexist and misogynistic. The Tates deny all the allegations against them. A Romanian judge had agreed to the brothers being extradited to the UK, but only after their trial in Bucharest.
If the police want to get hold of the Tate brothers because they face criminal charges here in the UK, yes, I would expect those extradition treaties to be used.
If they don't go back to Romania, a new extradition request may have to be sent to the United States. Martin Brunt, Sky News.
President Trump, Andrew and Tristan Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them, and if so, why?
I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He's back. They already did.
Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
I do. Look, obviously this involves, there's an English element here, so obviously it's important that justice is done, and human trafficking is obviously, to my mind, a security risk, and so we'll catch up with the story in due course.
You're aware? Are you aware?